You, sitting in the pew next to me. I don't know you. Oh, I know your name. I know the hi, how are you part of you. I know the rainy weather we're having, isn't it, part of you. But I don't know you. Not what you're thinking, not where you've come from, not where you're going. You sit so still. Are you serene, or are you simmering inside? Are you content with life, or are you churning? Are you here because it's a habit, or because it's a joy, or because your mother brought you years ago? Is it expected of you? Are you setting an example for the children? Are you glad to be here, or are you just tired? Are you bored, or are you filled with fire? Are you being turned into what's being said, or are you disenchanted? Did you come from a chaotic morning, or from too much quiet? Are you thinking about last night's party, or this afternoon's ball game? Or are you wondering what it's all about? Will you ever reveal yourself to me, or are you just another person in the pew I'll never know?
You, sitting in the pew next to me. I don't know you. Oh, I know your background. I know you're here every Sunday. I know you're very big around here. Church school teacher, chairperson of this and that, on all the important committees. Even went to the national meeting, didn't you? Who are you behind that smile? Behind all that activity? Are you for real? Are you doing it all for your image? Or do you love Christ so much you've got to give him your time? Are you hustling, or are you filled with God's Spirit? Are you desperately trying to fill the emptiness in your life, or are you overflowing with goodwill? Would you tell me if I asked you, or would you play a game with me? Would you really care if I told you my problems? Would you really listen, or would you be looking over my shoulder? Could I be honest with you, or would my honesty make you nervous? Would you take the time? Would you be interested to know what I feel? Would my doubts make you uneasy? Would you want to get involved? Do you even care what I'm all about? Where I'm heading? What I'm thinking? Does the fact that we're sitting side by side in God's sanctuary make us community? Does it make the difference? Or are you just another person in the pew I'll never know?
You, sitting in the pew next to me. I'm lonely. You'd be surprised at that, wouldn't you? How could I be lonely with all the family and friends I have? I'm not lonesome, I'm lonely. I'm lonely deep down where it hurts. I want to reach out to somebody and say, this is me. This is really me. But everybody passes quickly. They're all so busy. Everything's kept superficial, as if when we busy ourselves with enough things, we won't have to think. We won't have to face our emotions. Oh, I long to cut through our rote responses, our pleasantries, our right answers. I want to say, I'm sorry you have a cold, and I'm glad we're having weather. But what are you doing inside there? What kind of somersault is going on deep inside of you? Are you angry? Are you hurt? Are you frightened? Are you confused? Are you who you want to be? I'd be interested in what you feel. Would you be interested in what I feel? What I'm searching for, hoping for, reaching for? It's all a part of what I think it means to be here, in God's church. Are you lonely too? Do you wonder, or do you have it all solved? Or do you even care? Are you just another person in the pew I'll never know?
You, sitting in the pew next to me. I'm scared. Years are passing quickly, and I seem to have little control over my life. It's as though somebody else set out a course for me. When did I decide on this lifestyle? I'm scared by the subtleties of life. I'm scared by what's expected of me, by some unknown they out there. I'm scared by the pushing, the pulling, the pressures. Whoever decided that I had to live on this street in this house and work like crazy to live on another street in a bigger house. Whoever decided for me that success was chasing after things, that there's no end to it, keep chasing. My life dedicated to owning. Whoever decided that I owed my children bigger and better things. I'm scared when I take a look at my way of life. I'm scared when I look at myself. That's why I'm here. Because I've heard there is a better way. I've heard that some people take Christ seriously. I've heard that maybe in church I could be born again. Is it possible? Could I talk to you about it? Would you laugh to think somebody successful like me needs you? Or would you be compassionate because you know I'm scared? Maybe you'll be the one to tell me. Or are you just another person in the pew I'll never know?
You, sitting in the pew next to me. What are you really doing here? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? How much? Enough to risk? How much of a risk? Risk your reputation? Risk your family? Your money? Do you? Do you believe in Christ? Or is Christianity a convenience? Something to fill in on consensus forums? Something one just goes along with? Something undemanding? Something nice? Do you believe? Do you know what you believe? Will you share it with me? Or are you just another person in the pew I'll never know?
We lie in our beds in the dark. There's a picture of the children on the dresser. A patch of moonlight catches our clothes thrown over the back of a chair. We can hear the faint rumble of the air conditioner in the attic. We are surrounded by the reassurance of the familiar. When the weather is bad, we have shelter. When things are bad in our lives, we have a place where we can retreat to lick our wounds. Why tens of thousands of people, many of them children, wander the dark streets in search of some corner to lie down in, out of the wind. Yet, we are homeless, even so in the sense of having homes, but not really being at home in them. To be really at home is to be really at peace, and there can be no real peace for any of us until there is some measure of real peace for all of us. When we close our eyes to the deep needs of other people, whether they live on the streets or under our own roof, and when we close our eyes to our own deep need to reach out to them, we can never be really at home anywhere. We chose these two things today because we realize if we're to help others out in the world as Christ commands us, we can't do that if we can't help each other. And how many of us have sat in a pew and we never really talked to anybody? There's a lot of needs we have out here. Even in our own youth group, the kids go off to retreat. That's where they bond and they break down and they cry and they talk about themselves. But they never do that here. It's only when they go away. I saw a documentary not too long ago on homelessness, and this man said, if we're to help the homeless, we can't help the chronically homeless. We have to help the newly homeless. Well, if we're to help others outside, we have to rethink how we help each other. We have to help each other first before we can help others. So I want you all to stand up now as part of our social experiment here. I want you to go across the aisle and ask somebody how they're truly doing and really listen.